In the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, at the height of the Cold War frenzy, some 500 sites around the U.S. worked on nuclear weapons and other forms of atomic energy for the federal government. Companies tested, stored, and cranked out products with radioactive materials like uranium and plutonium. Many of these firms no longer exist, but the sites remain. Today, people living or working nearby are often unaware of what occurred there decades ago. Do some of these sites, dozens of which have been cleaned up by the federal government, present a health risk to the American public? I'm John Emshwiller. For the past year, the Wall Street Journal has been sifting through thousands of government records and other documents to identify nuclear-related sites in communities around the country. The goal? To find out what happened to them and what's there now. The government for decades kept a very tight lid on information about the nuclear weapons program and other nuclear work it did. But in the 80s and 90s, it started letting some of this information out and started filing information in various databases that you can now find on the internet. We started going through some databases that the Department of Energy has, and then we started looking through Environmental Protection Agency, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the Army Corps of Engineers. We decided there was no way we could sort through and organize all the material from these unconnected government databases without creating one of our own. That's where my colleague, Jeremy Singervine, came in.
I started working on this project at the beginning of the year. I'm a reporter, but I'm also a programmer. We built a custom database. To start, we automatically pulled as much information as we could from government sources, and the rest we had to add by hand. As an example, the kind of sources we used to find buildings that no longer existed. Historical maps like these let us pinpoint the locations much more precisely.
A lot of these sites were actually, quite close to residential, commercial activities as they were going on.
By cross-referencing those locations with census data, location data on schools, and so on, we can see what sort of areas these sites were in. Were they around lots of people or few people? It's not to say that these people are in danger, but to show the level to which these sites are embedded in our cities and our landscapes.
One of the questions for all of these places is, what's it going to be in 100 years or 500 years? Places where the government says there's enough radiation that we need to put controls. You can't use it for this or that. So, what will things be like and what will be there, in the future for our children's children's children? In all, thousands of man-hours went into reporting the story and creating the searchable database that readers can use to investigate the sites in their own communities.